in that organization, it's someone from every part of the county come together once a month, and we talk about crime, or basically trying to take care of the elderly. We really after trying to make sure that they don't get scammed or someone take advantage of them. But this organization do the same thing. Every part of this county, we have someone coming together on that first Wednesday in the month. Now in May, like the last Wednesday in May, we're going to have the whole county to come together for a triad. We're going to have a speaker to talk about crime, some of concerning the elder. We do it once a year, and usually that turnout, around 200 to 300 people shows up at that. So I'm saying that this, you all do the same thing. If you all can, you know, maybe get some young men, if you can bring them together, look on a Saturday or whatever one day you want to try to bring them together, and do the same thing. Because I said, no, we've been doing this now 10 years with Triad, and it's only getting to me like it's getting bigger and better, you know. So I think they can work the same way. And we talk about crime, they talk about crime. Like so we did, like Chula last week, they were the presenter. They got someone to speak. You know, and I think maybe Lexa next week, they'll get someone to speak to the organization. And we were trying, like I said, we were trying to look out for senior citizens. And like I said, the Crime Stop thing came through that same organization, Triad, that they wanted, and Crime Stop, and we also have Crime Stop here now. So that's what I'm saying is something we're gonna have to do. We just can't wait on other peoples to do it for us. Like I said now, Boy Scout, I mean, we had one in Holmes County, it's went away. You know, that's the thing. We got to find do with our own young men and young ladies. We got a young man up there, he had some young men, ladies, and do you have a group once?
Yes, sir, Color Guard.
Yeah, Color Guard, you know, they would perform at events in the county. I think you're the one away, right? Are you still doing it? You still doing it?
No, sir, it went away.
Went away. See what I'm saying? And the thing is now, I think we didn't try it really stuck so well because I was able to get a little grant to put together through the state. And now when I met all the retired teachers, organizations, different people all the county, and I told them we were the pilot program. Yeah, all of the state of Mississippi, Triad gonna look at Holmes County, and they gonna pick it back off us. Pick it back off us. And we put it together, and it's going strong all over the state. Now it's 40 in the state of Mississippi. But we was the pilot program for that when the senator and representative passed and they signed the law. They wanted someone to be a pilot program to see how it would work. And it's really working, I think, the Triad program. I thought we could do the same thing, but it would take a little time to get it all together.
My friend in Jackson's son was gunned down last week, and the reason why I didn't make it to this meeting last week is because I was at a black person's funeral, young black person's funeral, 24 years old. Now, I live in Chula. My husband and I are experts when it comes to young black men since we are the parents of 4 black men. My oldest son is in the United States Army, been there since graduation. He graduated May 2000. My second son is in the Air Force. My third son is going to the Air Force. So I think when it comes to knowing what to talk or do with young black men, I think we in a range of folks that basically know. Now, one of the things that I think that I want to suggest, I'm going to tell you 3 things that I personally feel are problems, and it's just my opinion. One of them is we have to address our issues with our kids from the root. You know, we got the preachers in here, and I'm not one. But the Bible said, train your child up in the way they should go. Yeah. So there lies the problem. The problem is starting right there as a child. You have a 15, 16-year-old mama. If she didn't try to do anything with him when he was 2 or 3, she got her hands full at 15. Yeah. So there lies the problem because of the fact that she didn't put her hands on to begin with. Now, beating is one thing I don't suggest. But when you discipline your children, you don't just have to take a belt to your child to discipline them. You find out what they won't take it and tell them they can't have it and be through with it. But 2 or 3 of our main problems with our young black people in our community is 1, teen pregnancy, 2, lack of education, and 3, us, our community in the church. Now, let's start with the teen pregnancy. When we have young children, 12, 13 years old, raising young girls and boys, first of all, you got a baby trying to raise a baby. Now, you got a single, underage, uneducated female trying to raise a a black male without the help or guidance of another black male to help them. And that means that that person, that mama is a child herself and they're trying to deal with her own peer pressure, so she can't talk to her child because she's dealing with it herself. So now you got a young black man that's 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. Your mom is 13, 14, 15 years old. She don't even understand that she needs to tell her child to get somewhere and sit down, and at that particular time she thinks it's cute when your child running around here cursing at 3, 4 years old, when that child needs to be spanked. We all grew up back in the day when our mamas gave us a look in church, and the look said, get somewhere and sit down. No words said. Kids don't understand it now. You got a single, uneducated female trying to raise a female who is doomed to repeat the cycle because all she sees is her mama having babies behind babies and the state of Mississippi taking care of her, so that's all she knows. Okay? If we don't call it like it is, we don't fix it. We can't sugarcoat the problem because until you flat out say out loud what the problem is, we will continue to go with this cycle. And there lies our problem in the county. Holmes County is the poorest county in the state of Mississippi, does make us the poorest county in the nation. This is where we are. Probably 70 or 80% of everything come through this county is coming through the federal government because of we lead the nation in teen pregnancy, obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, everything. We're leading the nation in every disability and poor education. This is not something for us to get upset about. It's a fact that we have to fix. We have no male presence in these kids, in these young kids. No male presence when they're growing up. You got your grandmama, you got your mama, because it's a continuous cycle. So where our kids going? These young boys gonna hang with another group of young boys who going through the exact same thing. So you got several kids that's all getting together because of the fact that there is no man in the house to tell their son, like my husband told my boys, when the sun set, where you supposed to be? In the yard. And when our son set, where were my boys? In the yard. Because my boys grew up knowing that the consequences of Willie Marge or the sheriff department or the principal, nothing compared to what he had to deal with when he got behind that door in my house with my husband. So that means that my boys were not afraid of Willie, they was afraid of their daddy. Okay? Big difference. So they didn't have to get to the point where we have to worry about the sheriff coming to them because they too scared of what their daddy might say. Now that's when you actually raising them right, because they actually got to understand it. We don't know who the sheriff is because we don't have to know who he is. We know who my dad is. I'm more afraid of my dad than I am with him because I don't have a clue who he is. Then the girls think, because of what they're growing up, our girls think it's okay to be screamed, cussed, get kicked, hurt, abused, because that's all they see. This is a cycle because they said, I'm seeing this in my house. You can't tell my child it's okay. Don't let that man do this, this, and this to you if they looking at you go through it every day. You have to practice what you preach. And that's not just in the church, that's in your house too. You can't tell your child, don't let him do this and get his thing if they sitting up there looking at you go through it every day. I mean, if ever there's a word hypocrite, there it is. Okay, now, we're talking about the lack of education. The lack of education in our county. Our kids don't have the education needed to try to go out. We're going to talk about not having a job. But they don't have the training needed to go get a job. Our kids are so stuck on, and I'm not being ugly about it because my mother raised us up on government assistance, but we grew up and we got out on our own. But in this county, our kids, their parents are trained to rely on the government for everything. They rely on them for everything. There's no getting around. Now what we don't realize, we don't realize that the state of Mississippi gives parents that's not working $110 for the first child, $36 for the second child, and $24 thereof. What exactly can a parent of 3 kids do with that kind of money when the Nike shoes on their feet cost $200? This is all the state of Mississippi is going to give out these parents. I mean, it's shocking because I've gone around the county and told these kids in the in the junior high and high school, this is what the state of Mississippi is going to give you. They got a set amount of money to give you. So until we say, come on now, is that all they get? And that's all they get. $110 for the first child, $36 for the second child, and $24 thereof. So what do our kids have? Absolutely nothing. So Mississippi said, I feed you, which is the EBT card, but that's it. I'm not giving you anything else. Then you have Our kids are stealing. They're stealing because of the fact that there's nothing at home. And then if you got, the parents already have no money. You got a teenage mama trying to raise these kids. And then you have no, because more than likely the daddy to the child is a teenager himself. And so it's, you know, they are so prone to think that the state of Mississippi is going to step up and just provide the money to do this, as opposed to the state of Mississippi is going to help buy your food if you're poor, but they're not going to help you raise your child. And their lives are a problem again. We have to get to the root of the issue, and the root of the issue is the teen pregnancy in the county, because we have babies raising babies. Then we have no community, no opportunities in the county. Holmes County has the highest unemployment rate in the state of Mississippi, the highest. I live in Holmes County. I drive Madison County every day. Madison County has one of the best employment rates in the state. So I'm driving out of the worst, and I'm driving into the best, and I'm driving out of the best back into the poor, to worse. And my co-worker said, Sheila, why are you still there? Because I go home. They don't understand it. I drive back home every time I drive back to children. But that's, and my job is, my position puts me in charge of everybody. I work for a state agency. And I'm in charge of everybody as far as training across the entire state of Mississippi. Not Holmes County, every county in the state. But why do I drive to Madison and drive back? Because I drive home. Because I, just like everybody else, want to improve my county. Then you have no summer jobs. Our kids in the summertime, when I was in high school, we had something to do. 16 years old, our kids look forward to the summer jobs. There's absolutely nothing to do. I don't know what the jobs are, what the programs are, but they definitely are not in children. And I don't think they're in Holmes County either. Now, then we talk about our community. Personally, I think not only do, and this ain't being ugly, because I personally think this is a matter of fact, it is our community leaders that are not stepping up and doing what they're supposed to do. And I mean in the churches as well. I've listened to enough people say, we need to pray, we need to pray. And that's all well and good. But prayer and work, if you don't have the work and the prayer too, then we're not going to be able to do them both together. When Martin Luther King fought the civil rights movement, he was not only in church because he was a Baptist preacher, but he was doing boycotts. Mr. Cobbin, he was up and down the road with him as well. But you wasn't just sitting over here in the corner saying, let's pray. Somebody was working. If everybody say, let's pray, and nobody get up and work, who's going to do something? Absolutely not. We don't even address social issues in the church anymore. I mean, I'm not being ugly because as a matter of fact, we don't address the social issues about our kids in the church, and that's what they need to be.